Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching The Right Stand here on CNN News 18 with me, Poonam Burde. The ISIS threat is real and close for India. Many security analysts and observers will attest to the fact that this danger is very much present. It may not be a one that sends us into a tizzy, but it's definitely enough for our guard to be up. On the 27th of May, 3 men from Jabalpur were arrested by the National Investigating Agency for being alleged ISIS agents. The NIA seized sharp-edged weapons, ammunition, incriminating documents and digital devices during their crackdown on this particular ISIS model in Jabalpur in Madhya Pradesh. Over the course of the last 2 weeks since the arrest, the NIA has unearthed the motive, the modus, and they are now trying to nail the mastermind of this entire nexus. Are these 3 men the ones that were running this ring, or were they just pawns in the hand of a puppeteer that is calling the shots? A sinister plot indeed is brewing, many say, the extent of which needs to be investigated. Their terror plans need a deeper and sustained probe, says the NIA, and the NIA hopes to do exactly that. The court has also now extended the custody for these 3 until the 8th of July. Custodial interrogation is what the NIA hopes will give them the leads that they need to crack this entire case. It's been 2 weeks since the arrest of these 3 highly radicalized men. It's not me who's calling them that. It's the NIA that said that these are highly radicalized men. But CNN News 18 is joining the dots. Our investigation has thrown up some startling revelations. Here's what the probe has revealed so far as the NIA goes. One of the biggest revelations that has been made is that they reportedly formed the local ISIS outfit that was inspired by the outfit called Hezbollah. The revelation that has come to the fore now by means of sources within the NIA is that Adil Khan, Shahid were tech-savvy engineering graduates. The trio allegedly was involved in recruiting via cyber platforms. Remember, the digital age that we live in seems to be a boon and a bane like many other inventions that we've seen across life. The accused are accused of participating in purchase of arms and weapons, all of course illegally. They reportedly plan to carry out violent crimes. The planning is what they are now looking into. The NIA is trying to piece together the mystery of what their possible targets could have been. The alleged modus operandi is to establish an Islamic dominance. The kind of literature that has been found from them, the kind of evidence the NIA says has been found from this trio, points to what they think is an establishment of an Islamic dominance. The NIA is also saying that these 3 allegedly were driven and motivated by a violent ideology of ISIS. They claim that propaganda information, jihadi literature and pamphlets have been seized. This was pre the arrest of the trio, the raids that were conducted before, and the raids that continued based on the interrogation of these 3. Another revelation that has been made by the agency is that the accused were in contact with foreign-based handlers. Where their foreign-based handlers are, which country, all of that needs to be pieced together. Another revelation that's coming to the fore is that these 3 explored ways to migrate to Syria or Iraq and join the ISIS. That is a revelation that has been made in several other cases where such modules have been thwarted, have been busted by the agency. So for how long did this go on? For how long was this network of these 3 or whoever was calling the shots was going on? And how did they do it? Here's what we've learned from our sources within the intelligence bodies. These accused held meetings in mosques to influence the youth. They allegedly recruited youth via WhatsApp and Instagram, the 2 most popular apps that one uses today. These trio reportedly showed ISIS training videos via their platforms, via Instagram, via WhatsApp messages. They allegedly also ran YouTube channels to spread ISIS agenda. That's another charge that has come to the fore. That's something that the NIA is now investigating. Now, these 3 men had 3 specific motives, as what we've learned. That has been confirmed to us by our sources within the intel agencies. Charge number 1 is that they wanted to establish Sharia law as above democratic systems. That was their one agenda, a big one. They wanted to discourage acquaintances from voting in elections. They wanted to try and meddle with the democratic process of this country. They also allegedly wanted to recruit youth with an aim to conduct violent jihad. This is what NIA sources have told us. They also wanted, allegedly, to convert girls to bring demographic change in the country. That was another motive that was driving them. This is what the probe has so far revealed. They have another 2 weeks of custody for these 3, and the NIA is going to piece together perhaps a bigger plot. Were these 3 the masterminds of this particular ring, or were they just pawns? That is something that the NIA will now have to look into. Is there a bigger plot, a bigger conspiracy that needs to be unearthed so that India is safe from this entire nexus, from this entire conspiracy? To break this down and to put this in more perspective, former IPS officer Yash Azad joins us on this broadcast. And sir, I'd like to begin by asking you, there are many in this country who would say this threat of radicalization, of ISIS radicalization, is an exaggerated one. But ever so often we are presented with cases like these, and details like these then come to the fore. Do you still think it is an exaggerated thing and it's something that we shouldn't be alarmed by?
No, I think this is an ongoing exercise. You would recall that when the ISIS was at its height, then we had interrogation of the youth from Kerala, and who had revealed a lot of secrets. Some of them had gone to these places, the so-called, where they were waging the Islamic war, and some of them had come back, and some of them had died also over there. And they had, elaborated upon the ISIS propaganda machine, how it goes on the internet. So I'm not surprised that these three people who are absolutely radicalized, and internet is one of their, methods of doing it. It's in continuum. Now there might be a conflict that how many people did go from India. Some people say that, well, it's minimal. Some people say it's probable that we don't know the exact estimate, the accurate figures. Nobody knows. But yes, there were people who were being radicalized. Some of them did not go out of fear or caution, and also some of the anti-radicalization measures taken by the various governments. In this particular case, I congratulate the NIA, and as you have described, the pattern seems to be the same. The use of the internet, the purchase of the arms, the aim to spread the Sharia rule. But I have a feeling that these are the pawns. The real people who are the handlers are, of course, outside. There must be a kind of a planning for them. As you said, they could be going to Syria. They could be passing off the handle here to some of the other new recruits. But yes, in the end, my prognosis would be, well, I would not say that the ISIS game plan can anyway sort of destabilize our security paradigm, because we have a terrific security grid. But a constant watch needs to be kept all the time for such aberrations, and for these happening it happens in usual cycles. And so now that we have one, we should absolutely be on the alert for the future.
Absolutely. Like I said right at the beginning, it's not something perhaps that sends us into a tizzy, but our guard definitely has to be up. We cannot dismiss the threat altogether, because that threat is very much present and it's clear. But, Mr. Azad, we've seen at least the South Indian states, the Southern Indian states that are prone to such kind of things. That we've noticed that as far as these modules have been busted, say, from Kerala or from Tamil Nadu. But this one coming to the fore from Madhya Pradesh. So it's not area specific, so to say, which is why the monitoring and the crackdown needs to be done equally, on an equal footing across the country. But do you think that this monitoring or the crackdown gets affected because many a times we don't even recognize the problem? How can then we effectively fight a problem that we don't even recognize?
Yes, somehow there appears to be, first is, to wish away a reality. And second is to not recognize it. So at least we are not wishing away the reality, because now we have an organization like the NA, which is led by a very, very capable officer, Gupta. And the other is the kind of a narrative which is being built around. Even if you have incidents, you sort of question the state, you question the police, question the action. I think that's ridiculous. The pieces picked up by the NIA in all the cases, there are so many of these, earlier on also, from Bombay, whether it was Al-Qaeda, whether it was the other modules which they had picked up. Each one had a trail, each one had a sequencing, and each one led to something. So I think in this particular case, again, it will be foolish to say, to negate this entire thing. And I would say that such ISIS modules could be picked up. You're absolutely right. Madhya Pradesh is a highly communally sensitive area. I belong to that cadre. Certain districts are defined as hypersensitive, medium sensitive, and low sensitive, and things like that. There are places in UP, these are the vulnerable areas. There are places in Bihar,
Yes.
along the border, in Bengal. So we can't say that it is area specific at all. In fact, we have to keep a much, much closer look now because of the vulnerability. The elections are coming. When do these modules strike? When do these terror tanzeems strike? They strike at big occasions,
Yes.
whether it's elections, whether it's Independence Day. So I would say it is time to be very, very careful. And NIA has done a great job.